Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you just settle down, please, so we can promptly start? Minx, can you start? Thank you. Very welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lianetse Matutwane. I'm the CEO of the South African Institute of Electrical Engineers, and let me welcome you all, both here present and online, to the 2023 SAIEE AGM. Let me recognize a few of our members and even affiliated associates that have also joined us, be it physically or online. We have the ex-president, Mrs. Refilwe Buthelezi, joining us online, and we also have physically here with us the office bearers of the Institute, Mr. Prince Moyo, the president, Professor Jan De Kock, the deputy president, Mr. Pascal Mutswasili, the senior vice president. We also have online joining us the junior vice president, Mr. Veer Ramnarain. Let me also, last but not least, with the office bearers, welcome our honorary treasurer, Mr. Jacob Mashinjike. Most importantly, let me welcome you, the members of the Institute, both here present with us and online. For without you, we would not be here. First and foremost, let me make sure that we are all safe and sound for those present at the very least. For those online, just be aware of your surroundings and make sure in case of any emergency, you know what routes to take. But for those that are here with us physically today, we have 3 emergency exits. The first one is here in the room. There are 3 screens. So behind each of these 3 screens, there are windows with butler doors, but there are keys right next to them. So that's the first port of entry in case of an emergency that we cannot get out of the room. But the second one is out there. We've got 3 doors leading into the training rooms as we are here today. So out the 3 rooms, and then to my left-hand side, and as you are facing me to your right-hand side, there's an emergency exit. So it's locked also, but the key is right on the butler door. And it's out that door, up the stairs. And the third one is, there's also outside the doors, there's stairs that you came down to into the training room with, up the very same stairs into the council chamber foyer. And if you take either of the 3 exits, we all have to then meet at the area, just it's a parking area just outside the parking area where we can then do the roll call. So I am also, by the very same token, hoping that you would have written down your name as you came into the venue, into the council foyer, so that we can do that roll call. That's for safety, ladies and gentlemen. And just by way of just some minor admin stuff that you just have to get across, please make sure that your cell phones are at least put on silent, because I do know that we have some very important members amongst us who have to have their cell phones on. Otherwise, we might not have the light that we have today. And then secondly, there is also, when we distributed the link through the Chronicle, There was in there also in that same Zoom, there was a Zoom link firstly, but secondly, there were 3 downloads that one could conduct, which had 3 packs, the 3 downloads. It was the agenda for the AGM, today's AGM, the report, and the minute pack for the AGM. So I'm hoping you would have also downloaded those and looked through that to familiarize yourself with the proceedings for today. Most importantly, in case of the other emergency, wherein we use ablution blocks, ablutions for those, from here, our ablution blocks are on the first floor. So it's up the stairs, just out the stairs to your left, and then that's the gents or the ladies. So that is my story for today, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, let me hand over to the President of the SAIEE, Mr. Prince Moyo. Over to you, President.
Thank you, CEO, and welcome to all. I'm just going to highlight the past presidents that are with us here today. Past President SAIEE Prof. Pednaidu, and again, Jacob Machinjike, and the others that are joining us on the call. I also want to acknowledge the general membership of the Institute, without whom we would not be an institute, and also all guests that may be joining us out of interest or to wish us well. So as introduced by the CEO, my name is Prince Moyo, and I've had the honor and privilege of presiding over the affairs of the Institute for the last year. We are on to agenda item number 1C, and as the CEO mentioned, we would have received either hard copy at the venue here. I understand the copies are as you come in, and secondly, electronically. So we take it that you would have received and perused the minutes of the AGM of last year. My duty, therefore, is to call for a proposer and second that the minutes be confirmed. And I'm going to start by calling for a proposal. Thank you very much. Past President SAIEE is proposing that the minutes be confirmed. Can we have a seconder in the room or online? Is somebody watching online? Because we have to count the votes as well. So I'm going to ask that we involve the colleagues that are online. While we are, do we have a seconder for the minutes? Deputy President would like to second the minutes. Prof. Jan De Kock, thank you very much. I am told that we have to take a vote. This is the AGM. So in addition to the proposer and seconder, may we take a vote by raising of our hands, physical or electronic hands? so that we may do a count. All those in favor to raise your hands. (32) online, and here is somebody helping us with counting. 2, 4, 5. (22), thank you. I concur with that. Thank you very much. For completeness, sake, those that are opposed to the minutes, may we see by raising of hands, physical or digital. We don't have anyone opposed to the adoption of the minutes here and online. Anyone opposed? None. Thank you very much, colleagues. The minutes will then carry as the official record of the proceedings of the AGM of 2022. Let me also just acknowledge the colleagues that are joining us now, in particular our chairman at SAIEE, Sidon Teto, and past president Angus Hay, and others. Thank you very much. I'm just going to give a couple of highlights of the year that we are wrapping up, and in so doing, reflect on the finances of the Institute, after which I will call the Honorary Treasurer to come and give deeper insights on the financial statements. From my side, as I've said, it gives me great pleasure to be handing over the leadership of this institute to the incoming president. And I think it's pleasant circumstances as far as the institute is concerned. At my inaugural address last year, I gave a talk on information analytics and decision-making in business to emphasize the firm shift towards the information age. And I think we are witnessing that. Big growth in IT companies, and in particular, the launch of artificial intelligence solutions. We know ChatGPT that has been causing waves. And in the last couple of days, Alphabet, Google has launched their BART solution. I think it's called BART. And unfortunately, they have restricted access to a couple of countries. But certainly, there is serious competition for information analytics and decision-making that can make our lives simpler. I subsequently visited all our centers, except for Gauteng, of course, who join us at the AGM. And it was really a pleasure. And I must say that I met a lot of good people and put some faces to some names. And of course, this came on the back of 2 years when the presidents could not visit because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm grateful to the Institute staff and the centers for all the arrangements. Subsequent to that, we had my invitation lecture, which was given by the MTN South Africa CEO, Mr. Charles Mlapisi, titled Value Creation Through Analytics. And again, we had a clear demonstration of the application of the principles that were the theme for last year in a real business. It was really exciting to see how MTN is using analytics and creating value from that. The BP lecture was given by Professor Stuart Russell, entitled Provably Beneficial Artificial Intelligence. So you can see that we continued on the theme, and this was an exciting talk again. Fortunately, all these talks are available on the SAIEE TV, which is our channel on YouTube. If you have missed them, you are able to access them and to watch them at your leisure. The Institute carried out its business and oversight through its monthly council and committee meetings. And I'm happy to report all planned council meetings were held with quorum. And we continued mainly online, much as we would have liked to meet face-to-face. The technology at the Institute is still being upgraded. And it is certainly our intention to revert to face-to-face meetings. We don't believe anything beats that. I would like to thank all council members and in particular committee chairs for their service during my term. Centers did their work as planned. We continue to revive the centers so that they are fully functional, and I believe this is an area that we'll continue to focus on. And thank you to Honorary Vice President Mrs. Jane Busson-Street for a sterling work in leading the centers. Technical programs were pegged as usual for the year, continuing from the COVID days when we really went to town about online webinars. And a list of some of these webinars, KZN had cable theft from a manufacturer's perspective, engineering and patent law. We have an engineer who is a lawyer, also a lecturer at the UKZN. So I remember him telling me about that talk when I visited the center. Central Gauteng Center had a talk on the impact of inverter-based generation on grid stability and possible mitigations, which is something that we are going to be facing shortly. Women in Engineering had a talk on closing the gender gap. Energy Storage Chapter, a talk on standards and understanding batteries. And then we had a joint webinar series with the AMEU, really successful one, more than one, as we say, webinar series. And the theme was the municipality of the future. KZN again had a talk on the municipal independent power producer program. The Etewini colleague who is leading that program calls it the MIPPP. Free State had a talk on cast resin transformers, the path to a greener future. We worked with UJ to talk about water security driven by the Industrial Revolution 4.0. And Actom presented their new technological offerings in Lesotho. So these are just highlights of what happened during the year. We couldn't list all of them. Membership has stabilized about 4,548 following the sharp decline during the COVID years. And we are hopeful that we are going to revert back and grow our membership. We still believe we offer a lot of value, and taking into account the fact that the identification of engineering work is coming into effect, I'm told next year. There is no better place in terms of offering of content for continuing professional development than the Institute. So look no further. And of course, if you join us, you get to experience all the other benefits that come with that. We also spoke to 2 institutes that we have been speaking to over the years to try and advance our partnership and collaboration. Obviously, with an aim to exploring possibilities of merging in future, because the electrical discipline is unfortunately very wide, very, very wide. And we do get sometimes splinters that focus on a certain aspect of the broader discipline. But our stance has always been that we are stronger together in order to get critical mass. So we spoke to SACAC, South African Council for Automation and Control. We also spoke to IT professionals of South Africa, IITPSA, and of course, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but we are finding common ground. I'm also happy to report that we signed up 2 corporate partners last year, Hyosung and Schneider Electric. And these are multi-year partnerships. They are not just for 1 year. Load shedding is the topic of today. It was a feature of our life last year, and looks like the country broke records, and this year seems set to be worse. The Institute, realizing this concerning development, wrote to ESCOM about July and asked to meet with ESCOM to understand the causes as well as opportunities for assisting. And indeed, this meeting happened in August, and a multi-point plan, 7-point plan was arrived at, culminating in some progress around our members registering themselves via the ESCOM crowdsourcing program, and ESCOM in fact coming to explain the generation recovery program or plan to our membership at this very institute. We have some other further cooperation that we identified, such as inputs to the next process of the integrated resource plan. So besides the ambitious plans, mainly in the generation space, that were shared by the Group Chief Operating Officer of ESCOM, Mr. Jan Oberholzer, who's also, I think, an honorary fellow, a fellow of the Institute, yes. Besides the information that we got, we are also aware that part of the solution definitely lies in the faster rollout of the transmission grid, so that the ambitions of the renewables integration can be met. We also reviewed our strategy, and I'm happy to say 5 of our 7 committees completed a reflection on their strategic priorities, how they align to the overall institute strategy and the progress that they are making. Last year, we decided not to publish another strategy because we don't believe we should be publishing a strategy every year. So last year was a year of implementation, but I see, and it's written up to 2023. So sometime this year, you may have to revive that. So the focus really is on the implementation, quality of implementation of the set initiatives that we see that will take the Institute to the next level. You will hear today of the financial results that are showing good performance compared to the last 4 years. So if I take 5 years, this being the 5th year, the first 3 of the 5 years, we registered significant deficits. A modest surplus last year, and this year shows a 330% growth in that surplus, from 320,531 rands to 1,069,743 rands. And most of this is due to 4 areas of focus: membership fees, CPD training programs, tightly managing costs, and of course, our investments. Then the turnaround in our investments, in particular, as the markets were picking up, yielded a 267% increase from the previous year. 340,570 rands to 908,764 rands. As many of you would recall, a few weeks ago, we held the SAIEE Awards, a very pleasant evening event that where we hosted over 200 members of the Institute and their partners. And we are grateful to the event sponsors on the day that included Revive Electrical Transformers, Actom, Proconics, Ledvance, and BMW. And we look forward to many partnerships with them in the future. And I'm happy to report that the event was self-sustaining from a cost perspective. Of course, I would like to take this opportunity to also thank all the recipients of the various awards for their deserved awards. Lastly, I would like to thank members of the Institute in general, the management and staff of the Institute, led by Lianetse, council members and office bearers, and of course, past presidents for their guidance and support during my term. All your kind contributions did not go unnoticed. And I would like to thank my family for their support during this busy year. It's a busy year and it does fly past. In particular, my wife, Nonto, she's unfortunately not here today, preparing for her graduation in the next couple of days. But she has supported my involvement with the Institute since 1997, when I was directed to these buildings by past President Dr. Henry Geldenhuys. So it's been a privilege to serve the Institute, and I wish Prof. De Kock, his new team, office bearers and council, all the best in the coming year. Thank you very much. I would like to request Honorary Treasurer Jacob Machinjike to come and present the financial statements, making reference to just the necessary and important aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the AGM, it was very befitting of our president. We have touched on some of the pertinent issues of success that have been registered during his tenure as president. And his leadership has propelled us all to focus on the pertinent issues diligently, so that the finances of the Institute were not only maintained, but that they were sustained. Mr. President, office bearers, distinguished members of the annual general meeting, the financial statements have been distributed to everybody. So you have got the full record of the results. My intention is just to read some pertinent parts of the financial statements. There are two main aspects which need to be mentioned. One, it is an unqualified audit report, and it's free of any misrepresentations of any figures or material misstatements. And that's very important. And number two, we continue with and sustain the positive trend that was reported from the last annual general meeting. Before that, we had recorded deficits, like Mr. President has mentioned earlier. I would like you to keep that in mind, because that's a very positive message. So coming to some pertinence on the report, the audit report was of relative importance in the sense that there was the recovery in terms of the economy after the COVID-19 pandemic. So the hard work that went during the course of the year, following the previous year, as attested by the hard work of our staff and the auditors who had to scrutinize all the information that we provided to them, led to the conclusion of the reports just a few weeks ago. The SAIEE is a not-for-profit organization, and the period under review continued on a positive path that was reported from the last AGM, like I said. There have been a rebound in our equity markets, which the Institute relies on heavily. So we do have funds which are invested. We have encouraging and concentrated oversight by Council. So thank you, Council, as well as the Finance and Internal Audit Committee. Thank you to the Finance and Internal Audit Committee and the diligence of the Chief Executive Officer, our financial manager and staff has all gone towards looking at the detailed aspects of the finances of the Institute. Carrying on with these pertinent matters on the financial statements, our total asset base increased from last year's 48,433,795 up slightly to 48,741,446 rands, that is. And that is a change of over 300,000, mainly attributable to investments. We have a number of houses that we invest with, and they continue to give us feedback from time to time. And in some instances, the performance has been flat and not so good, but we have had an instance where one of the fund managers has provided the goodies that has assisted the Institute's finances immensely. On our statement of comprehensive income, revenue was lower than the previous year. And so were the expenses that go with it. So our revenue in the audited year were 6,622,493 compared to a previous higher number for year 2021 of 7,084,482. There's been cases of other income, which has done well compared to previous years. And the bottom line surplus has been very positive. And we are very thankful to those activities of the Institute and the oversight that was presented. The surplus was, as was mentioned by our president, was 1,069,743 compared to 320,532. That is for 2021. So it's a great performance indeed. And thank you very much for your stewardship, Mr. President, and all those who were involved. So it is very pleasing, therefore, to report on the financial statements this year as audited. Our appreciation goes to everyone who has contributed towards this achievement. The annual financial statements have been made available to you, as I've indicated, and if one has to carry on, just to touch on one or two things, CPD income reduction by half is due to economic challenges. We continue to do a lot of online courses, membership credit balance liability is something that we need to watch for going forward, in that there have been some credits given to members. You know, there is that early discount that you are given, which, you know, when you pay within a certain period of time, and please pay up before the end of this month and realize that credit. So we have done some thorough analysis as a finance and internal audit committee and realized that there are some credits which have accrued to some members over time. And if these credits are to be applied, which is the intention going forward, is that some members may be paying significantly less going forward. So this has got a likelihood of a negative impact, although it's favorable to the members, negative impact on our finances as we go forward. So just take note of that. We also had auditor fees, which were reduced from the previous auditor. We are still getting the same quality of services though. It is just more to do with the market and our ability to competitively select the appropriate auditors and negotiate the fees accordingly going forward. Although not reflected on these audited financial statements, going forward, there is this potential risk relating to the City of Johannesburg water and rates for premises. After many years of negotiating with City of Johannesburg on what they were charging us for water accounts, we were of the impression that what we have been paying for the past 4 years or so has been commensurate with what we've been consuming. And we thought that was fair. But we were negatively surprised in that there has been a bill in excess of about 430,000 that Joburg Water has demanded that it be paid. We've had to get some legal opinion to this end so that we be clear on what we'll be paying for if we are to pay for such. And the legal conclusion was the opinion was that it is in our interest that we pay. So what is the underlying issue here? It is the fact that we are an institute of 1909 and we were registered under the Transvaal ordinances. And in terms of the current acts which are in place, City of Johannesburg does not view us as a not-for-profit organization, to which had we been one, we would be enjoying certain credits and certain rates. So we have to thank the governance committee and Mr. President for the leadership to push hard on the governance committee to finalize the registration of the institute as an NPO, and plans are afoot to that end. If we do not have this successfully done, it means that we may have to find ourselves with like 11,000 payment that we have to make over and above what we should be paying. And one can say that is the cost of not properly registering as a not-for-profit organization. So that's what this is all about. So in closing, the period under review has been a good run and a continuation of the positive turnaround that was reported at the last AGM. Significant changes in operations and attitude from the recent past has led to some shifts in our operations, and this has been attributable to everybody, especially our CEO and staff. So my gratitude goes to Council for the overall oversight of the Institute and more specifically to the Finance and Internal Audit Committee, and which was chaired by our Deputy President here, Prof. De Kock. Thank you for your diligence in scrutinizing the finances of the Institute and providing guidance to ensure that allocated budget and funds under management were well managed. So sincere thanks also to our centers. We've got a number of centers across the country for your financial prudence, and thank you to all who got involved in ensuring that the Institute's sustainability and viability is assured. Mr. President, this concludes my report. Thank you.
Honorary Treasurer Machinjike, thank you very much for your report, which certainly gives us an overview of where our erstwhile institute is headed. And I would like to thank you as well for agreeing to assume this role of Honorary Treasurer, taking on the tradition of the other very experienced members and past presidents of the Institute that have really played a key role as stewards of our finances. So thank you to you as well. These are the benefits of being an Institute member. You get to chair meetings. If you apply yourself diligently, you get to chair meetings. You get to present financial statements. You may be an engineer, but you get to, so you have to understand the financial statements. You get to present them. You get to field questions if there are any. And, so these are some of the side benefits of definitely becoming an active member at the Institute. You get developed in a well-rounded way. So we are learning, and we appreciate the opportunity. I would like to check whether there are any questions of clarity regarding the financial statements that have been presented here. In the room, online, any questions of clarity? You have the financial statements, you have had the highlights, and they have been audited, and they are being presented to you for eventual adoption. Any questions online, Mr. CEO? Thank you. Any questions in the room for clarity? No questions? Thank you. Thank you very much. You have been very clear, Mr. Honorary Treasurer. Even though there are many numbers there. Or maybe it's because of your audience. They understand numbers very quickly. All right. I'm going to ask for a proposer and seconder, and we'll take a vote as per tradition. Proposer that the annual financial statements be adopted. Prof. Naidu, thank you very much. Past President Prof. Naidu is proposing. A seconder that they be adopted. Okay, I can see Khomotso's hand here. Thank you very much. Thank you, my brother. And online, who do you have? Thank you very much. Let's take Andres. Let's involve our colleagues that are online. But we had 3 hands for the record. Thank you very much. Past President Tetwa. We will now take a vote, colleagues. All those in favor of the adoption of the annual financial statements, may we raise our hands? I agree with you. I'm checking on you, Mr. CEO, today. So I agree with you. 27 in the room, online. Yes, so the number has also grown online. Thank you very much. Those opposed, please raise your hands. None in the room. I take it none online. All right, in the room there is none, but what you are suggesting is to lower the hands from the previous question, and then we ask them the question again. Let me know when I can ask the question again. I had fun with Teams today. I had to put my hand timer down about 5 times. So it could be yeah, please do give me the names and we'll ask them. All right, Past President Krone, we assume it's a connection problem. He's taking it down. Thank you. Second one. Ed Bunge, my colleague from Pietermaritzburg. What are you not happy about? The hand is down. Thank you, Ed. Jeffrey Heinebach. Any concerns you have, sir? You may speak if you can. All right, so I take it's a connectivity matter because he also cannot speak. Shall we leave it there? Okay, and if Jeffrey has got questions, please feel free to email them to the administration. We are going to have it on record then that the financial statements are adopted. The next item is called general business, and I've been asked to check whether anyone has any question that they would like to raise under general business. As it pertains to the affairs of the Institute. General business, anything concerning you that you would like the AGM to be aware of? Nothing in the room that I can see. And online? Yes, we will assume it's a connectivity glitch, or he has gone to make a cup of coffee and forgotten to put his hand down. We will move on then to the next item of the agenda, which is the induction of the incoming president. I'm counting the minutes, incoming president, as you can see. It's a few minutes while I can still call myself president. So I'm looking forward to handing over. I'm one of those African presidents who look forward to handing over power. I'm a rare breed. So Prof. Jan De Kock is the incoming president, and we are only going to read the official abridged curriculum vitae. We did do the naughty things that are usually done, but we will reserve those for another day. So just give me a moment, colleagues. Do you have it? That's what happens when you are too organized. There you go. Thank you. So Professor Jan De Kock started working in a power station 2 weeks after finishing his matric exams. There you go, long association with power systems. 2 weeks after finishing his matric exams. Since then, he graduated with a B.Eng, M.Eng, and PhD in electrical engineering from Stellenbosch University. After graduating, he worked for Sasol for 4 years and spent 7 years working as a consulting engineer at Net Group. And he has since 2001, been a professor in electrical engineering at Northwest University. He has academic interests in electrical machines, transformers, power system dynamics, protection systems, and high voltage engineering. He has published articles in scientific journals and presented technical papers at local and international conferences. He has served on several SABS committees, SABS, and represented South Africa on the IEC Technical Committee TC14 on power transformers. Prof. De Kock is registered as a professional engineer with EXA and is a fellow of the SAIEE. He has served on the SAIEE Council for 9 years in various roles. In 2013, he received the SAIEE Presidential Award, and in 2018, the SAIEE Engineering Excellent Award for his contribution to electrical engineering in South Africa. I would like to congratulate Professor Jan De Kock and ask him to come forward and receive his badge. Yeah, I am told that from now onwards, I am relieved.
Thank you, Mr. Immediate Past President, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to preside over the Institute for the next year. And I would like to propose a vote of thanks to our retiring President, Prince Moyo. Thank you very much, Prince, for leading the Institute for the last year and your dedication to the Institute over the last number of years. Then it's my privilege to also congratulate Pascal Motsele with becoming the Deputy President of the Institute, and the Senior Vice President, Via Ramdarain, who's not with us this evening. And then the Junior Vice President for this year is going to be Prudence Madiba. To her also, congratulations. Then if we can continue with the official business, we need to elect auditors and legal advisors for this term. Sorry, I missed that.
Fellow colleagues, let me be the second person to congratulate our President, Jan De Kock. And let me also be able to thank Mr. Moyo, our retired president. He joins the team of past presidents whose inevitable role is to continue to guide the Institute and guide the incoming and now ordained president, amongst others. Mr. Moyo, we thank you very much, not only for the past year that you have served as president, but for the many years that you have been an office bearer, and you have been of great service. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you for your commitment to the Institute and the help that you always provide. Your soundness of mind, strong leadership, and financial discipline at the time when the industry and institutions faced tough economic challenges due to the pandemic and post that, that has produced notable results, which I was too pleased to share with the AGM. You maintained and improved a healthy financial position of the Institute whilst we experienced membership challenges, and that deserves recognition. It is during your term that we sorted out many of the teething and long-standing issues. And this included, amongst others, the conclusion of reviewing and updating our constitution. We saw this concluded on your watch, so thank you very much for that. Council approved the Institute structure to align with the Companies Act. I talked earlier on about the challenges in terms of our NPO status, and that was approved at Council. It's just an implementation matter, and the governance committee together with the CEO and staff, you just need to execute that as best as possible and as quickly, swiftly. We are currently registering the NPO, so that is great. And not just the NPO, but it's also the public benefit organization. So we wanna just go all out. There are benefits around that, in that we'll be able to issue, say, Section 18A tax certificates to donors. And hopefully we'll get to a stage where you will be able to get tax rebates for your membership fees. Council, during your tenure, approved the establishment of a benevolent fund. It's a good step in the right direction, and this would serve to benefit the members of the Institute. Like you indicated in your report, the Institute's committees have now got a framework of delivery in terms of the various mandates of the committees. and that strategies get to be delivered, and that the initiatives that we set ourselves to achieve in the beginning of the year, they get tracked, and that performance results are also put out there for all to see. So all these initiatives have helped the Institute to be on a solid footing going forward. So with those few words, Mr. President, I conclude my vote of thanks to the retired president of the Institute. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Ladies and gentlemen, then I'd like to propose that FC Chartered Accounts be elected as the Institute's auditors for this year. And I'd like to call for a seconder. Pat Naidu. And then I'd also like to propose that Messrs. Fairbridge, Wertheim and Becker be elected as our legal advisors for the ensuing year. Again, may I call for a proposer, for a seconder? Thank you, Viv. Then may I propose that the council be authorized to continue with its investments in equities with the three main investment houses that we've been using, Nedbank, Investec and Sanlam. And again, I'd like to call for a seconder. Angus, I found it. Then it is my honor to announce under clause 3.2 of our constitution that the council has again elected Jacob Masinjiki as our honorary treasurer for the Institute for the coming year. Jacob, thank you very much for volunteering to again assist us, and I look forward to working with you in the coming year. Thank you very much. Then I'd like to announce the composition of the council for the coming year. Starting with the office bearers, yours truly as the president. Then the deputy president, as we've just said, is Pascal Motsosele. The senior vice president, Viaram de Rein. The junior vice president, Mrs. Prudence Madiba. The immediate past president, Prince Moyo. The honorary treasurer, Jacob Masinjiki. And then the honorary vice president will be elected at the first council meeting in a week's time. Then as fellows that will join us on council, Jane Boyson Street, Tom Eichbaum, Colin Matsale, Jan Aram Pretorius, Amelia Matsale, Jerry Walker, Shaminda Gomez, Dave Nichols. And then as senior members, Tsesegu Cornelius, Patrick O'Halloran, Sedi Masisi, Mfo Rikoto, James Mossadile, Jonathan Hansley, Victor Sekona, Frans Manyingane, Mbuyu Sumowenyo, Tseselu Molu, and then as members, Clinton Carter Brown, Dr. Fulofelio Noyamondo, Professor Cuthbert, Christina Mokloli, Sandekulu Wiolondo, Tabishun Rafolu, Ella Ndlovu, Lebu Mafelolo, Siselu Mabuza, and then as section chairs for power and energy is from Machitli. Then for software and engineering, Renier van Heerden. For the historical section, Jane Boyson Street. For rotating machines, Amish Singh. And then for the centers, the Western Cape, Heinrich Radman. For KZN, Richard Anslacher. For the Southern Cape, Stein van der Merwe. For Mpumalanga, Morne Rousseau. For the Eastern Cape, Philip Nicholson. For Gauteng Center, Motoloke Beloy. Then the Vaal Center is vacant at the moment. And then for the Central Gauteng Center, Komotsu Sitlafole. And for the Northern Cape, Sydney Mokawane. And then as past presidents, the following past presidents have accepted invitation to also serve on council: Pat Naidu, Tisi Marikani, Henry Geldenhuys, Ian McKechnie, Paul van Niekerk, Saigura, Viv Krone, Andries Ntetwa, Jacob Masinjike, George Debo, Angus Hay, and Professor Sunil Maharaj. That then, ladies and gentlemen, is the council for the coming year. Thank you for all of you that have been elected and that are going to join us in governing the Institute for the coming year. Then in addition, for the following sections, I'd like to congratulate Renier van Heerden for his election for the electronics and software section. Esra Machali for power and energy. Amesh Singh for rotating machines. Jane Boyson Streets for the historical section. Twara Marifogu for the system section. And for building services, Aaron Shivona. May I then ask, oh yes, and then also I'd like to thank William Stuckey for his services as president of the electronics and software section for the past year. Thank you, William.